Hello, this month we're going to start with some fairy tales, and the whole month will be devoted to fairy tales in different countries, and I'm going to start with the British ones. The first one, we're gonna make top 3 fairy tales in each country. The first one will be Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. The story tells about a Goldilocks, which was a little girl who came to the house of the 3 bears in the woods. She stayed there, she ate their food, she slept in their beds, and she basically left after herself a lot of things. And when the bears came home, she got frightened and very quickly escaped, and the 3 bears were not pleased with it, and that's the whole story basically. Number 2 is Jack and the Beanstalk. This tells about the person whose name is Jack, who lives with his old mother on their farm, and they have a cow that stopped giving milk, and that was the only source of money for them because they were selling the milk and feeding themselves as well. And for the reason that the cow didn't give any milk anymore, Jack decided to sell the cow. He came to the market and he found a person who was selling magic beans, and this person, he proposed to exchange the magic beans for the cow, and Jack accepted the proposal, and then he came back home without a cow but with a couple of beans, and his mother of course got very disappointed in him and hid his hands and threw the beans off outside the house. During the night when they were sleeping, the beans grew into a huge beanstalk that happened to be like a tree going up to the skies, and when Jack woke up he realized it and he decided to climb it. There was a huge castle of a giant that was living there, and the giant has a giantess, which was his wife. And Jack recognized and found out that giant has a lot of gold and a lot of other things that he can steal and basically make their lives down on the earth better. So he went to the beanstalk a couple of times. Giantess helped him the first time. She hid him away while the giant went to sleep. And Jack has stolen a couple of belongings of the giant, and on the third time when the giant finally found out about it, he started following Jack down to the earth when Jack was climbing down. And Jack was quick enough, he cut an axe from his house and he cut down the beanstalk, and the giant fell down to his own death. And they lived happily ever after with his fairy tale is The Wise Princess. This one is a peculiar one. It tells about a little princess that was born, and since the early childhood she was showing huge signs of gift. She was very gifted and talented, and she was extremely well educated. She was absorbing knowledge out of everything. She very quickly began speaking all the languages. She knew the name of every object and every living creature. She could understand everything, but she couldn't find the true happiness. And with time, her body became very old, and she became very unhappy about everything. But she knew everything, and because her body and her organism was going bad, her father wanted to send a doctor to her, but she refused because she knew what was going on. So she refused the offer, and she never was cured. But one day she was strolling along the beach, and she found out a couple of animals on the beach that were flying and running around. She asked them about what are they feeling, how do I find happiness, and they told her that happiness for them is that the sky is so blue and the grass is so green and weather is so beautiful, and she couldn't understand them even though she knew everything. Then later on she went to a church that had a grave close to it. In the grave there was a coffin, and there was a wounded soldier smiling, even having the wounds, and she asked him, you have the wounds, you are suffering, why are you smiling? And she couldn't understand why. And when she came by this grave, she met the death, and the death told her that I can make you smile if you want to. I can make you understand happiness, and she kind of refused it. And then she was walking along, and she found a crying baby because she was on the beach. She found a crying baby in the waves of the ocean, and she decided to save it, but she couldn't help herself out. So she saved the baby, but she actually drowned herself. And later on, when people found out about her, when people found her body, she was lying, smiling, and people told that supposedly she found the true happiness while helping.